Have you ever found out a secret from the guy that you was dating? Peace, family, peace, peace, peace. I hope you guys are having such an amazing day. If not, do understand and get your day is going to get better once your perception gets better, child. Okay. My name is Dina Bryant. I do these inspirational videos, some vegan recipes, and then some Dollar Tree hauls. Make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe. So this story takes place. Okay. I want to say my oldest son at the time was about 6. My oldest son is 21 years old. He was about 6 at this time. And you know, when you just get out of a relationship, right? I don't know about the next person, but I'm quite sure you guys could relate. Okay. I had just got out of this relationship and I made a vow to myself that I would not get back into another relationship. And to me, I just thought that I was gonna start attracting better guys. Okay. I was in for a rude awakening. I didn't understand at that time this whole thing, the whole concept of law of attraction. And it's so funny because I remember I had seen my oldest son's uncle at the time, right? And at this time, I had 2 children. No, matter of fact, yeah, I had 2 children at this time. And I remember I had seen my oldest son's uncle, and he was pretty much telling me like his brother was about to come home from jail. Those was the type of guys I was into, okay? The hood boys, okay? And I was like, I don't care. I was like, I'm about to be married. Honey, I was not even dating at the time. Okay. But I put it out into the universe. And that's why you hear people say, be very mindful of what you speak over yourself. Okay. Because it will show up. And I wasn't dating at the time, but this one particular day, I was with one of my homegirls. Now, at this time, I was living in transitional housing, okay? So I could get Section 8 for me and my 2 children at the time. And I remember me and my homegirl who was in transitional housing as well. I remember me and her, we had went to this store so we could get something to drink. And we was bringing our children to the park. So when we got to the store, ooh, child. Oh gosh. It's like when you make a vow to yourself, or when you say, oh, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Listen, if you think the universe ain't finna test you, it is. Okay. Cause I definitely got tested. So we in a store and I just see this, ooh, child, 6'2". Okay. Dominican and Venezuelan. Oh gosh. Very tall, handsome, so handsome that whenever I brought him around my family, now this was the only guy that whenever I brought him around my family, like everybody was saying he was handsome. He was nice looking. From my cousins to my aunt to my mother, okay, to my grandmama, okay, was saying like he's a very nice looking guy. And he was well mannered, okay. He had it going on, okay? But now when I met him, we in the store, me and my homegirl, and I was purchasing a soda. And you know when you give somebody the change at the counter and it's like they all in your face, okay? Because he was all in my face, okay? And he just kept staring, and I just was like, okay, right? And I never was the type that would court a guy or approach a guy and be like, can I get your number and stuff like that. That's just pretty much how I was raised, okay? And so we left out of the store, me and my homegirl, okay, after he was, staring at your girl, okay? Okay? And we left out of the store, and I told my homegirl, I was like, get his number. And she was like, no. But when we left out of the store, she was like, oh my goodness, you seen? I was like, girl, he looked it so far. She was like, girl, he looked it good, right? And I was like, girl, get his number. And she was like, no, you get it. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna ask him for his number. I was like, go ask him for me. Right? So she went inside and she asked him for his number and stuff. And she pretty much was like, oh, my friend want to talk to you, whatever. So when she came out of the store, I was like, what did you tell him? And she was like, oh, I told him you wanted to talk to him and stuff like that. And she was like, here go his number. So she gave me the number and we started walking. And probably about an hour later, he had called me. And me and him started talking. We started getting to know each other. And remember that vow I made to myself, like, I'm not going to have sex. I'm just going to pretty much be celibate, right? And it was nuns who ran the transitional housing program. And one of the nuns, I was really, really close with her. Her name's Sister Maureen. I was like really, really close with her. And I remember, and she was like a retired nurse. And I remember I would go in her office and just talk to her and stuff like that. And I told her about, the guy that I met and stuff like that. Let's just say his name is Jose, okay? So I told her about the guy that I met and stuff like that. And he started coming here, right? Because we would go out, we would walk and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm not having sex no more. I was telling her this, right? And she was like, yeah, until you see him, like with nothing on. right? This sister, she was like that, okay? And so I remember, let me back up, okay? So it was a few secrets that I didn't know about him. So one was, I didn't know that he didn't have his papers, okay? And what happened was, one day he was going to play basketball and I was holding his phone or something. And then the next day I noticed like he didn't give me his phone to hold when he went to go play basketball. And then like we had an argument because come to find out it was a girl that would be calling him or something. But he wasn't in no relationship. He just was like, she would call me and I didn't want you to think that, like I was messing with her. That was one. Then the next thing I had found out, I had asked him something pertaining to driving because he was probably like 2 years younger than me. And I asked him about driving because he was like real, real smart. And I was like just baffled, like, why you don't have a car? Like, why you ain't driving? Why you don't have your license? And then he was like, I tell you, but I'm going to tell you later. He ain't want to tell me. But then I started putting two and two together. I was like, oh, he don't have his papers, right? His citizenship. So me seeing him working inside this like bodega, I started feeling bad because he was like a really, really hard worker. So I was like, I help you out and stuff like that. And I really, really cared for him. And I felt he cared for me a lot. Okay. So that was the second secret. Him not with the papers. Then the third one was this. So I remember I was like, all right, we're going to get married, whatever. First it started off like, oh, I'm going to give you a promise ring and stuff like that. And he did get the ring. It was he was, out of all the guys that I dated, I want to say he was the most like romantic at times guy and very patient. He was very, very patient, but I didn't feel like I deserved that. Like I didn't feel like I deserved that type of relationship because my background, right? And what I seen growing up. And so when you feel like you don't deserve someone that is if you feel like love is supposed to be, somebody beating on you, or if you feel like love is when somebody cheating on you and you keep on taking them back, when you meet somebody that's not doing any of those things, you will self-sabotage that relationship because you feel like you don't deserve it anyway. And that's what a lot of times I would tend to do. So we was planning on getting married and everything like that. And I remember this one particular day. Now, remember I said I wasn't going to have, sexual intercourse until I got married. And one day, I don't remember exactly how the subject came about, but one day, and this was like the third secret, he had told me, he was like, he was uncircumcised. Now, some of you guys probably like, girl, right? But it was a secret for him to hold back and not tell me that, okay? And I was like, you're not what? And he was like, I'm not circumcised. And I didn't know really like what that meant. I didn't know what that meant. And he was like, I'm not circumcised. And I was like, what does that mean? And he was like the skin, right? And I was like, I still didn't know. And so I was like, let's go for a test drive. I was like, let's go for a test drive because like if I'ma marry you, let's see, okay? But it wasn't really nothing. It was just like, skin, excess skin or whatever. On the bottom of the guy thing. So we went for a test drive and it was but so that was like the third secret. And what happened with the relationship, I think we was married for, it was real short. I think like 9 months or so or something like that. And since it was so short, we did a annulment. And he wanted to get the divorce because he was like that it wasn't working. And it was both of us, okay? But one of the things that I noticed about myself was I told you guys that I felt like I didn't deserve that. And he was insecure too, because remember, you attract what you are. But he wasn't that insecure with, so he was like, I'm going to stay in this relationship. And during that relationship, I was the aggressor. Like, it's so funny how sometimes the roles reverse. Because prior to him, before him, I was in a relationship with a guy who was the aggressor. And then I got out of that relationship and got into this relationship. And I just felt like, oh, something must be wrong with him, right? Because he don't really raise his voice and stuff like that. He's not, he wasn't like the average dude that I was used to messing with. And so we broke up and so that was it. So that was the secret, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.